Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
The upcoming film Preschool 2026 is already creating curiosity among movie fans because of its unusual concept and emotional storytelling approach. The movie blends drama, mystery, and psychological tension around the seemingly innocent world of early childhood education. At first glance, the story appears to revolve around a normal preschool environment, where teachers guide children through their earliest learning experiences. However, as more details about the film emerge, it becomes clear that the story goes far deeper than a simple school setting. The film explores how childhood environments shape personality, memories, and even hidden trauma that can affect people for the rest of their lives. Set in a quiet suburban community, the preschool itself becomes the central location where multiple characters' lives slowly begin to intersect in unexpected ways. What starts as a peaceful educational setting gradually turns into a place filled with secrets, emotional revelations, and psychological tension. Because of this layered storytelling approach, many early discussions about the film suggest that it will combine heartfelt emotional moments with suspenseful twists that keep viewers engaged throughout the entire narrative. The overall tone of the movie mixes warmth and unease at the same time. On the surface, the preschool appears cheerful and colorful, full of playful classrooms, smiling children, and teachers dedicated to shaping young minds. Yet beneath that friendly atmosphere lies a deeper story involving hidden histories between several adults connected to the school. The film explores themes such as memory, trust, childhood innocence, and the impact of early experiences on adult life. One of the central ideas the film tries to explore is that the earliest stages of education are not just about learning numbers or letters, but also about emotional development and the formation of identity. The story slowly reveals that some characters working at or connected to the preschool are carrying unresolved issues from their own childhoods, and being in that environment begins to bring those memories back to the surface. This emotional complexity is expected to be one of the strongest elements of the film, making it more than just a simple drama about teachers and students. The cast of Preschool 2026 is expected to feature a mix of experienced performers and rising stars, which adds to the anticipation surrounding the film. The lead role is reportedly centered around a dedicated preschool teacher who has recently joined the institution with hopes of creating a safe and nurturing learning environment for children. Her character is portrayed as compassionate, intelligent, and deeply committed to helping every child feel valued. However, as the story progresses, viewers learn that she has a mysterious past connected to the very same preschool building where she now works. Alongside her character is the school's director, an individual who appears calm and professional, but who seems to know more about the building's history than he initially reveals. Their interactions slowly become more intense as the truth about the preschool's past begins to surface. Another important part of the cast includes the parents of the children attending the preschool. Each parent represents a different perspective on parenting, education, and childhood expectations. Some parents are supportive and trusting of the teachers, while others become suspicious as strange incidents begin occurring at the school. These different personalities add layers of conflict and emotional tension to the story. There are also several child characters who play surprisingly meaningful roles in the narrative. Instead of simply serving as background figures, the children are portrayed with depth and individuality, each reflecting different aspects of curiosity, fear, creativity, and innocence. Their behavior and reactions often provide subtle clues about the deeper mystery unfolding within the preschool environment. The plot of Preschool 2026 gradually builds around a series of unusual events that begin happening shortly after the new teacher starts working at the school. At first, the events seem minor, such as children describing imaginary friends who appear unusually detailed, or drawings that seem to represent places that no one remembers showing them. Teachers initially dismiss these incidents as normal childhood imagination, but the frequency of these strange moments begins to increase. The new teacher becomes particularly concerned when one child repeatedly describes memories that appear connected to events that happened long before the child was even born. This discovery pushes her to investigate the preschool's history more deeply. As she starts researching old records and speaking with longtime residents of the community, she uncovers fragments of a story connected to the building's past. Years ago, before the preschool existed, the location had a very different purpose that was largely forgotten by the town. Some community members seem uncomfortable discussing it, while others deny that anything unusual ever happened there. These conflicting reactions raise more questions than answers, encouraging the teacher to keep searching for the truth. At the same time, the director of the preschool becomes increasingly cautious about her investigation, suggesting that digging into the past could cause unnecessary panic among parents and staff. While the mystery unfolds, the film also spends significant time exploring the daily lives of the children and teachers within the school. Scenes showing classroom activities, storytelling sessions, and playground interactions create a strong emotional connection between the audience and the young characters. These moments of innocence and joy provide contrast to the darker elements of the story, making the overall narrative feel both heartfelt and suspenseful. The emotional balance between warmth and tension is one of the aspects that early viewers believe will make the film stand out. The release date for Preschool 2026 is expected to fall sometime in 2026, and anticipation is slowly building as more production updates circulate among movie communities. Even though many details about the film remain carefully guarded, the concept itself has already generated discussions among fans who enjoy psychological drama and character-driven storytelling. Because the film focuses on themes related to childhood memories and hidden past events, many viewers are curious to see how the story will unfold and what kind of emotional impact it will deliver. The first trailer for the film is rumored to highlight both the warmth of the preschool environment and the mysterious elements that slowly appear throughout the story. Early descriptions suggest that the trailer will begin with cheerful scenes of children learning and playing, accompanied by calm music and bright visuals. As the trailer progresses, subtle hints of tension begin appearing, including unsettling drawings made by the children and brief glimpses of characters reacting with confusion or fear. These carefully chosen moments are expected to give audiences a sense of the film's emotional depth without revealing too many of the story's secrets.
As the story of Preschool 2026 continues to develop, the narrative becomes increasingly focused on uncovering the deeper truth behind the strange experiences happening inside the school. The teacher who initially began investigating the children's unusual memories slowly realizes that the phenomenon may not simply be imagination. Some of the details mentioned by the children appear to correspond with events that occurred many years ago in the same building. These revelations begin to blur the line between coincidence and something far more mysterious. Instead of dismissing the children's stories, the teacher starts documenting every unusual comment and drawing they produce, hoping that patterns will eventually emerge. At the same time, tension grows between the teacher and the preschool director. The director remains firm in his belief that discussing these matters openly could damage the school's reputation and frighten parents unnecessarily. His reluctance to investigate further raises suspicion among some staff members, especially when it becomes clear that he has been connected to the institution for many years. The possibility that he may know more than he admits becomes an important element of the film's unfolding drama. Conversations between these two characters become increasingly intense, revealing emotional layers that hint at shared experiences from the past. Another compelling aspect of the story involves the reactions of the parents whose children attend the preschool. As rumors about strange behavior begin spreading through the community, different families respond in different ways. Some parents insist that their children should remain in the school because they trust the teachers and believe the environment is still safe. Others become worried and consider transferring their children to different institutions. These conflicting reactions create emotional tension during parent-teacher meetings and community gatherings, where everyone tries to decide what is truly happening inside the preschool. The film also dedicates significant time to exploring the emotional journeys of the children themselves. Through their interactions, the audience sees how children process confusion, fear, and curiosity in ways that are very different from adults. Some children appear completely unaware that anything unusual is happening, while others seem deeply affected by the strange memories they describe. One child in particular becomes central to the mystery because their drawings consistently depict the same unfamiliar building that once existed on the site before the preschool was constructed. These drawings become one of the strongest visual clues in the story, encouraging the teacher to continue her investigation despite growing resistance from others. As more pieces of the past begin coming together, the narrative reveals that the location once held a facility that was closed under unclear circumstances many years ago. Very few records remain available, and many longtime residents of the town avoid discussing the topic altogether. This secrecy creates an atmosphere of quiet unease throughout the community. The teacher eventually discovers that several people connected to the preschool, including some parents and staff members, may have personal histories tied to that earlier chapter of the building's existence. This revelation raises the possibility that the strange experiences occurring among the children might somehow be connected to unresolved events from that time. While the mystery intensifies, the film continues to emphasize the emotional importance of childhood learning environments. Many scenes show teachers guiding children through creative activities such as painting, storytelling, and group games. These moments highlight how preschool education plays a crucial role in shaping confidence, empathy, and communication skills during the earliest years of life. By contrasting these nurturing experiences with the darker mysteries surrounding the building's past, the film creates a powerful emotional dynamic that keeps viewers invested in both the children's well-being and the unfolding investigation. The climax of the story is expected to bring together the various threads of mystery that have been slowly building throughout the film. The teacher's determination to uncover the truth eventually leads her to evidence that cannot easily be dismissed or hidden. This discovery forces several characters to confront events they had hoped would remain forgotten. The emotional consequences of these revelations affect not only the adults involved, but also the entire preschool community. Friendships are tested, trust is challenged, and the meaning of responsibility toward the next generation becomes a central theme in the final act of the story. Another interesting aspect of Preschool 2026 is the way it explores the idea that children sometimes perceive things adults overlook. Throughout the film, the children's perspectives often provide subtle hints about the deeper mystery, even when they themselves do not fully understand what they are describing. Their honesty and imagination become powerful storytelling tools, reminding viewers that childhood innocence can reveal truths that adult logic sometimes ignores. This theme adds emotional depth to the narrative while reinforcing the film's focus on early childhood experiences. The trailer for the film is expected to capture this balance between innocence and suspense in a visually striking way. Early descriptions suggest that it will feature bright classroom scenes transitioning into quieter, more mysterious moments where characters begin questioning what they thought they knew about the school. Quick flashes of concerned parents, thoughtful teachers, and children quietly drawing unusual images are likely to appear as the music gradually shifts from cheerful to tense. The final moments of the trailer are rumored to end with a powerful line from the teacher, suggesting that the past may still be influencing the present in ways no one expected. As anticipation grows for the film's 2026 release, many movie fans are eager to see how the story ultimately resolves its emotional and psychological themes. The combination of heartfelt storytelling, complex characters, and an underlying mystery set within a preschool environment gives the film a unique identity compared to many traditional dramas. By focusing on the powerful influence of early childhood experiences and the secrets that communities sometimes try to hide, Preschool 2026 promises to deliver a narrative that is both thought-provoking and emotionally engaging.
As the story moves deeper into its final stretch, the atmosphere surrounding the preschool becomes noticeably different from the cheerful environment seen at the beginning of the film. The classrooms are still filled with colorful drawings and playful decorations, but there is now a quiet tension among the adults working there. Teachers begin noticing small details that previously seemed unimportant. Some children repeat the same phrases during playtime, and others begin drawing images that appear strangely similar to each other, even though they never discussed them together. These patterns slowly convince the main teacher that something deeper is influencing the children's thoughts and memories. The teacher continues documenting everything she observes, carefully collecting drawings, recording conversations, and noting unusual behavior. Over time, she realizes that many of the children's descriptions point towards the same hidden story connected to the land where the preschool was built. This realization leads her to search for older residents in the community who might remember what existed there before the preschool was constructed. After several conversations filled with hesitation and vague answers, she finally meets someone willing to speak honestly about the past. This elderly resident reveals that decades earlier, the property had been used for a small experimental educational facility that was eventually shut down after a series of unexplained incidents. According to the residents' memories, that earlier institution had ambitious goals. It was created to study how very young children learn, think, and develop emotional intelligence. The people running the facility believed that understanding childhood psychology at an early stage could transform education across the country. However, their methods were rumored to be controversial, and many locals felt uncomfortable about the experiments being conducted there. Over time, strange rumors began circulating within the town. Some parents claimed their children behaved differently after attending the facility, speaking about places or memories that seemed impossible for them to know. These disturbing stories eventually forced the institution to close, and most official records were quietly removed or forgotten. The building was later demolished, and the land remained empty for years before the preschool seen in the film was built. Hearing this information deeply unsettles the teacher because many of the children's drawings resemble the layout of that former facility described by the resident. This connection suggests that the past may not be as distant as everyone believed. The possibility that unresolved events could somehow still influence the present becomes a central mystery driving the final portion of the narrative. Meanwhile, the director of the preschool becomes increasingly aware that the teacher is uncovering information he hoped would remain buried. His behavior grows more protective and anxious, which raises further suspicion among other staff members. Eventually, it becomes clear that the director himself had a connection to the original institution when he was younger. Although he was not responsible for the controversial practices rumored to have occurred there, he had witnessed the fear and chaos that followed when the facility closed. Because of those painful memories, he believed that reopening the discussion could harm the community once again. The conflict between the teacher's search for truth and the director's desire to protect the school creates one of the most emotionally powerful dynamics in the film. Both characters believe they are acting in the best interests of the children, yet their approaches are completely different. The teacher believes that understanding the past is the only way to ensure a safe future for the students. The director, on the other hand, fears that exposing old secrets could destroy the trust parents have in the preschool. Their conversations become intense and deeply personal, revealing how differently people respond to fear, responsibility, and guilt. At the same time, the children continue expressing unusual thoughts that seem connected to the forgotten history of the location. During group activities, some children mention unfamiliar rooms or hallways that do not exist in the current building. Others describe hearing voices or remembering lessons they were never taught. These moments are not portrayed as horror, but rather as mysterious fragments of memory that even the children cannot fully explain. The film treats these experiences with sensitivity, emphasizing curiosity rather than fear. One particular scene becomes especially important when a group art activity leads several children to draw the same image of a large circular room. When the teacher compares these drawings with the description given by the elderly resident, she realizes that the room closely resembles the central space of the former research facility. This discovery convinces her that the children's experiences cannot simply be dismissed as imagination. Somehow, the environment itself seems to be triggering echoes of events that occurred long ago. As tension builds towards the climax, the teacher organizes a meeting with the preschool staff and several concerned parents. During this gathering, she carefully presents the evidence she has collected, including the drawings, recorded conversations, and historical details about the property. The room becomes filled with mixed emotions. Some parents are shocked and frightened, while others remain skeptical about the conclusions being drawn. The director listens quietly as the discussion unfolds, knowing that the moment he feared for years has finally arrived. What follows is a powerful turning point in the story. Instead of allowing the community to fall into panic, the teacher suggests approaching the situation with openness and compassion. She explains that even if the past cannot be fully explained, the priority must always be the emotional well-being of the children. Her calm and thoughtful perspective gradually changes the tone of the conversation. Rather than focusing on fear, the adults begin discussing how they can create a supportive environment where children feel safe expressing their thoughts and imagination. The final moments of the film focus on healing and understanding rather than simple answers. While the mystery surrounding the past may never be completely solved, the characters come to realize that acknowledging history is an important step towards moving forward. The preschool remains a place of learning, but now the community surrounding it shares a deeper awareness of how powerful childhood experiences can be. The closing scenes return to the everyday activities of the classroom, where children continue playing, drawing, and discovering the world around them. Yet there is now a quiet sense of wisdom among the adults watching over them. The story ends with a message about responsibility, reminding viewers that the environments created for children today can shape memories and emotions that last a lifetime. In this way, the film concludes not with fear, but with reflection, encouraging audiences to think about the importance of honesty, compassion, and understanding when guiding the next generation. As the story approaches its final phase, the atmosphere around the preschool begins to shift once again. After the intense meeting between the teachers, parents, and the school director, the community slowly starts adjusting to the idea that the past connected to the land cannot simply be ignored. Instead of reacting with panic, many parents decide to stay involved with the school and work together with the teachers to create an environment where the children feel comfortable sharing their thoughts and experiences. This moment marks an important emotional turning point in the narrative because it shows the power of honesty and cooperation when facing something that cannot easily be explained. The main teacher, who has spent most of the story searching for answers, begins to see her role differently. At the beginning of the film, she believed her mission was to uncover the full truth behind the mysterious memories appearing among the children. But now she realizes that the deeper purpose of her journey was to protect the emotional well-being of the students and ensure that they feel safe expressing themselves. Instead of continuing her investigation in secret, she begins openly discussing creativity, imagination, and memory with the children in the classroom.
Through storytelling activities and art projects, she encourages them to explore their feelings without fear of being dismissed or misunderstood. These classroom moments become some of the most heartfelt scenes in the film. Children paint colorful pictures, tell imaginative stories, and share small pieces of their inner worlds with their classmates. Some drawings still contain unusual elements connected to the mysterious past of the location, but they are no longer treated as frightening or abnormal. Instead, the teacher treats them as part of the children's natural creativity and curiosity. This approach gradually reduces the tension that had previously surrounded those mysterious drawings, transforming them into opportunities for emotional expression rather than sources of fear. Meanwhile, the school director begins confronting his own memories about the original institution that once stood on the land. For many years, he believed that remaining silent about those events was the only way to protect the community. However, after hearing the teacher speak honestly during the meeting, he starts realizing that silence may have allowed uncertainty and rumors to grow even stronger. In several reflective scenes, the director revisits old photographs and documents connected to the former facility, remembering the hopes and ambitions people once had when they created it. These memories reveal that the original institution was not built with harmful intentions. The people involved genuinely believed they were helping children develop stronger emotional awareness and creativity. Unfortunately, misunderstandings, fear, and poor communication with the community eventually led to its closure. By revisiting these memories, the director begins to understand that the past does not have to remain a hidden source of shame. Instead, it can become a lesson about how important transparency and trust are when working with young minds. At the same time, the children continue to provide subtle clues that the past and present may still be connected in ways no one fully understands. During one quiet afternoon, a child who had previously drawn the mysterious circular room begins building the same structure using classroom blocks. The teacher observes the activity carefully but does not interrupt. When she gently asks the child about the structure, the child simply describes it as a place where people used to gather to listen to stories. The answer is simple and innocent, yet it echoes the description of the central learning space from the old research facility. Rather than treating this moment as something supernatural or frightening, the film presents it as a symbolic connection between generations. It suggests that spaces dedicated to learning can carry emotional echoes from the people who once filled them with ideas, curiosity, and imagination. In this way, the mysterious memories appearing among the children may represent something more poetic than literal, an expression of how human experiences leave lasting impressions on the environments we create. The final act of the film focuses on rebuilding trust within the community. Parents begin volunteering in classroom activities, joining storytelling sessions, and participating in creative workshops organized by the teachers. These moments emphasize the film's central message. Education during early childhood is most powerful when families and teachers work together with openness and compassion. The preschool gradually becomes not just a place where children learn basic skills, but also a community center where creativity, understanding, and emotional growth are encouraged. In one of the film's most touching scenes, the teacher organizes a special art exhibition displaying the children's drawings from throughout the year. Parents walk through the colorful classroom walls, observing images of playgrounds, animals, imaginative worlds, and even the mysterious circular room that first sparked the investigation. Instead of reacting with confusion or fear, the parents now see these drawings as reflections of their children's unique perspectives. The exhibition becomes a celebration of creativity and individuality. The director attends the event quietly, watching as parents and children admire the artwork together. At that moment, he realizes that the school has evolved into something healthier than what existed in the past. The focus is no longer on secret experiments or hidden research, but on nurturing curiosity and emotional expression in a supportive environment. This realization brings a sense of peace that he had not felt in many years. As the film reaches its closing moments, the narrative returns to the calm rhythm of everyday preschool life. Children laugh on the playground, teachers guide small learning activities, and parents greet one another with friendly conversations during pickup time. The earlier tension surrounding the building's history has transformed into a quiet understanding that the past is part of the community's story, but does not have to control its future. The final scene shows the teacher standing in the classroom after the children have gone home for the day. She looks around at the colorful drawings and toys scattered across the room, reflecting on everything that has happened since she first arrived at the school. The camera slowly focuses on one final drawing left on a table. It shows children and teachers standing together inside a bright circular room filled with light and laughter. In the quiet weeks following the emotional events that reshaped the preschool community, daily life slowly settles into a calmer rhythm. The tension that once surrounded the building's mysterious past no longer dominates conversations among teachers and parents. Instead, a new sense of unity begins forming among everyone connected to the school. Parents who once worried about rumors now spend more time participating in school activities,
volunteering during story sessions, helping organize small classroom celebrations, and interacting with the teachers in ways that strengthen trust. The preschool gradually becomes more than just a place for early education. It evolves into a shared space where families feel involved in the emotional growth of their children. The main teacher continues guiding the students with the same patience and curiosity that first inspired her investigation into the school's history. However, her perspective has changed. Earlier, she believed that solving the mystery surrounding the preschool would provide clear answers that could put everyone at ease. Now she understands that not every story from the past can be neatly explained. Some memories, especially those connected to childhood, exist more as emotional impressions than factual events. Instead of searching for a final explanation, she focuses on helping the children express their thoughts and creativity freely. One afternoon during a classroom storytelling activity, the teacher invites each child to invent a story about a place where they feel safe and happy. Some children describe magical forests filled with friendly animals, while others talk about playgrounds where everyone can play together without fear. When it is the turn of the child who often drew the mysterious circular room, the story becomes quietly meaningful. The child describes a bright room where people gather to share ideas, listen to one another, and learn new things every day. There are no signs of fear or confusion in the story, only warmth and curiosity. The teacher realizes that whatever connection the children might have with the past, they are transforming it into something positive through imagination. Meanwhile, the preschool director begins taking steps to ensure that the lessons learned from the past remain part of the school's future. After many years of avoiding discussion about the land's earlier history, he decides to create a small archive within the school office containing photographs, documents, and written accounts of the previous institution. His intention is not to dwell on old controversies, but to preserve the truth so that future educators understand how important transparency and communication are when working with children and families. This quiet decision reflects the personal growth he has experienced throughout the film. As the school year progresses, the community surrounding the preschool becomes stronger and more connected. Seasonal events such as small festivals, family art days, and outdoor learning activities bring parents, teachers, and children together in ways that highlight the joy of early childhood education. These scenes emphasize the film's central message that nurturing environments help children develop confidence, empathy, and creativity. Instead of focusing only on academic learning, the preschool becomes a place where emotional intelligence and imagination are equally valued. One particular event near the end of the school year becomes especially memorable for everyone involved. The teachers organize a day of imagination, encouraging children to transform the classroom into any world they wish. Using cardboard, paint, and colorful decorations, the students create castles, forests, oceans, and even small pretend cities. During this creative activity, several children collaborate to build a large circular structure made from blocks and paper walls. When the teacher asks what the structure represents, the children happily explain that it is a story room where everyone gathers to share adventures. The moment feels symbolic without needing any dramatic explanation. The circular room that once represented mystery and confusion has now become a playful symbol of creativity and shared learning. The teacher watches as children sit inside the structure, laughing and telling imaginative stories together. For the first time since the investigation began, she no longer sees the room as a reminder of the past, but as a representation of the future, an environment where curiosity and kindness guide the learning experience. Outside the classroom, the parents also begin reflecting on how the events surrounding the preschool have changed their perspectives. Many realize that their initial fear came from uncertainty rather than real danger. Through open communication with the teachers and one another, they learned that understanding children requires patience and trust. The film quietly highlights how adults sometimes underestimate the emotional depth of young minds. By listening more carefully to their children, many parents discover new appreciation for the creativity and honesty that define early childhood. The final portion of the story gradually shifts towards a sense of closure rather than suspense. Although the exact explanation behind the children's unusual memories remains open to interpretation, the characters no longer feel the need to uncover every detail. Instead, they accept that the most important outcome of the experience has been the strengthening of their community and their commitment to providing a nurturing environment for the next generation. In one of the last scenes, the preschool hosts a small graduation ceremony for the children who will soon move on to elementary school. Parents gather in the playground while teachers decorate the area with colorful banners and drawings created by the students throughout the year.
Each child receives a simple certificate celebrating their creativity, kindness, and growth. The ceremony is filled with laughter, proud smiles, and emotional moments as families realize how quickly these early years pass. During the celebration, the teacher looks around at the children playing together and reflects on everything that has happened since she first arrived at the preschool. What began as a mystery about forgotten history ultimately became a lesson about empathy, courage, and the importance of listening to young voices. She realizes that the greatest responsibility of educators is not only teaching letters and numbers, but also helping children feel safe enough to explore their thoughts and emotions. The film closes with a peaceful image of the classroom at sunset after the graduation ceremony ends. Sunlight filters through the windows, illuminating the colorful drawings covering the walls. Among them is a picture of the circular story room, now surrounded by smiling children and teachers holding hands. The camera lingers on the drawing for a moment before slowly fading out. Through its thoughtful storytelling, Preschool 2026 leaves viewers with a gentle but powerful message. Childhood is a time when imagination, memory, and emotion blend together in ways adults sometimes struggle to understand. When communities approach that stage of life with openness, patience, and compassion, they create environments where young minds can grow freely. The story reminds audiences that the earliest places of learning carry lasting meaning, shaping not only children, but also the adults who guide them.
As time continues moving forward after the graduation ceremony, the preschool begins preparing for the arrival of a new group of children who will soon take their first steps into the world of learning. The classrooms are cleaned, the walls are decorated with fresh artwork, and teachers carefully organize books, toys, and learning materials for the upcoming school year. Although the building looks the same as it always has, there is now a deeper sense of awareness among the adults working there. The experiences of the past year have changed how they view their responsibilities, reminding them that education is not only about teaching lessons, but also about understanding the emotional world of young children. The main teacher, who played such an important role in uncovering the forgotten history of the location, now feels more confident in her approach to teaching. She has learned that curiosity should never be discouraged, whether it comes from adults searching for answers or children expressing imaginative ideas. Instead of trying to control every situation with strict explanations, she encourages open conversations in the classroom. This method helps children feel comfortable sharing their thoughts, even when those thoughts are unusual or difficult to explain. During the first week of the new school term, the preschool welcomes several new families into the community. Many of the returning parents help guide them, sharing their own experiences about how supportive the school environment has become. The atmosphere feels warm and welcoming, showing how much the community has grown stronger after facing uncertainty together. New children explore the playground, discover the colorful classrooms, and slowly begin forming friendships with one another. One of the first classroom activities of the year involves creating a memory wall, where children drop pictures of places that make them feel safe and happy. Some drawings show homes filled with family members. Others show parks, beaches, or imaginary lands full of bright colors and playful creatures. As the teacher places the drawings on the wall, she notices something that makes her quietly smile. Among the many pictures is a new drawing of a circular room filled with people sitting together and listening to stories. Unlike earlier moments in the film when such drawings raised questions and tension, this time the image feels completely natural. It has become simply another symbol of imagination within the classroom. The teacher understands that certain ideas may continue appearing in different forms because spaces connected to learning and creativity often inspire similar visions. Instead of viewing it as a mystery, she now sees it as a reminder of how powerful storytelling and shared experiences can be. The preschool director also continues developing the small historical archive he created in the office. Over time, he adds written accounts from former teachers, photographs of early community events, and even a short explanation of the original institution that once stood on the property. His goal is not to emphasize the past as something troubling, but to show that every place carries a history shaped by the people who spent time there. By preserving these records, he hopes future teachers and families will appreciate how important honesty and communication are when building educational communities. Another meaningful change in the school is the way teachers now collaborate more closely with parents. Monthly gatherings are organized where families can discuss children's development, share creative ideas for activities, and talk openly about challenges they might face. These meetings strengthen the connection between home and school life, ensuring that children receive consistent emotional support from both environments.
The film presents these moments as simple yet powerful examples of how strong communities grow through cooperation. Meanwhile, the children themselves continue exploring the world with the curiosity that defines early childhood. Some become fascinated with painting and drawing, while others show interest in music, building structures, or telling elaborate stories during playtime. The teachers encourage every form of expression, believing that creativity helps children understand their emotions and develop confidence in their abilities. One afternoon during free play, a group of children gathers in the corner of the classroom to build a structure using wooden blocks and soft cushions. The shape slowly turns into a circle, similar to the story room the previous class once imagined. They excitedly invite their classmates to sit inside the structure, while one child begins telling a made-up adventure about explorers discovering new worlds. The teacher watches quietly from across the room, recognizing how naturally the children have created a space for sharing ideas. The scene reflects one of the most important themes of the entire film, that learning environments become meaningful because of the experiences people share within them. Whether the circular room once existed in the past or simply represents a universal symbol of gathering and storytelling no longer matters. What matters is the way children instinctively create spaces where they can connect with one another. As the school year continues, small everyday moments fill the classrooms with laughter and discovery. Children learn their first letters, practice counting games, and explore nature during outdoor walks around the neighborhood. Teachers celebrate each small achievement, understanding that these early milestones form the foundation for lifelong learning. Near the end of the film's extended closing sequence, the camera slowly moves through different areas of the preschool during a quiet afternoon. Sunlight passes through the classroom windows, illuminating shelves filled with colorful books and art supplies. Children sit together listening to a story, while others quietly draw pictures nearby. The atmosphere feels peaceful and hopeful, showing how the school has become a place where imagination and understanding thrive side by side. In the final moments, the teacher once again looks at the memory wall filled with drawings from both the previous and current classes. Among images of houses, animals, and playgrounds, the circular story room appears several times in different styles. Some drawings show it bright and colorful, others simple and playful, but they all share the same sense of warmth and connection. The teacher gently adds one more drawing to the wall, a picture created by a child earlier that day, showing people sitting together in a circle while sharing stories. As she steps back to look at the wall, the camera slowly focuses on the collection of images representing imagination, friendship, and learning. The film ends with a quiet message that echoes throughout the entire story. Places dedicated to childhood education are shaped not just by buildings or history, but by the compassion, curiosity, and creativity of the people who fill them with life. No matter what stories the past may hold, the future of those spaces will always depend on how communities choose to nurture the next generation.
Following the calm and reflective conclusion of the school year, the story of Preschool 2026 expands to explore the broader impact of the preschool's environment on the surrounding community. While the main events in the classroom and playground form the heart of the narrative, the film also shows subtle ways in which children influence adults, and vice versa. Parents, teachers, and even neighbors begin noticing small but meaningful changes in how the children interact with the world around them. Children show more confidence, empathy, and curiosity in their daily lives, reflecting the positive influence of a nurturing and open learning environment. The film highlights the ripple effect of early childhood education by showing how children's experiences extend beyond the preschool. For example, a child who initially struggled with social interactions begins forming friendships with peers outside the school, sharing creative ideas during neighborhood playdates, and even encouraging other children to explore imaginative games. The teacher's approach of encouraging storytelling, group problem-solving, and expressive activities proves transformative, demonstrating how guidance and emotional support can help children navigate their first complex social environments. Simultaneously, the adults continue to grow alongside the children. Parents who had been anxious or skeptical at the beginning of the story learn to trust the process of collaborative education. They begin actively listening to their children, encouraging them to express themselves, and engaging in playful activities at home. The film carefully depicts these moments with quiet attention to detail, showing parents reading stories together, painting with their children, and asking about the imaginative worlds the children create. These small acts highlight the broader theme that early education is not isolated to the school, but is reinforced by consistent support from family and community. One of the most emotionally significant arcs in the film focuses on the director of the preschool. Having lived with the burden of the building's past for many years, he finally finds a sense of closure. By opening the historical archive to teachers and parents and allowing honest conversations about the land's history, he demonstrates that transparency and courage are powerful tools for healing. His character development is subtle yet impactful. The director shifts from someone overly protective and cautious to a figure of quiet wisdom who understands that children thrive best when adults model integrity, empathy, and curiosity. His interactions with both staff and families reveal a newfound balance between leadership and openness, offering a poignant reflection on how adults can create safer and more inspiring learning spaces. Throughout this part of the film, children continue to explore and interpret the circular story room motif in various ways. Some imagine it as a castle, others as a spaceship, and still others as a gathering place for magical creatures. The motif evolves organically, symbolizing the continuity of imagination across generations. The teacher notes how different children interpret the space in their own ways, reinforcing the film's central idea that childhood imagination is not just play, but an essential tool for understanding the world. This evolution of a previously mysterious symbol into a celebrated creative space embodies the film's message that environments are shaped by the people who inhabit them, and that imagination transforms uncertainty into discovery. The film also dedicates moments to examining the emotional intelligence of children in action. Several sequences showcase children resolving conflicts among themselves without adult intervention, demonstrating empathy, negotiation, and teamwork. In one memorable scene, two children disagree over the use of building blocks, but instead of escalating into anger, they negotiate a shared design for their creation. This scene is subtle yet powerful, illustrating that when children feel safe and supported, they naturally develop emotional skills that extend far beyond the classroom. In parallel, the parents group begins organizing a community storytelling event. Families gather in the school's outdoor courtyard, sharing tales from their own childhoods, favorite experiences, and imaginative stories inspired by their children. The event serves multiple purposes. It strengthens social bonds among parents, reinforces the importance of narrative and imagination, and allows children to see how adults participate in creative expression. These scenes are filmed with a warm, inviting tone, emphasizing the film's focus on connection, empathy, and shared growth. The narrative also examines the subtle role of memory and history. While the mysterious past of the building continues to influence the story, it is no longer a source of fear or tension. Instead, the film presents the past as a layer of context that informs the present. The children's occasional references to the circular room or unusual memories are interpreted as imaginative echoes of the environment's history rather than supernatural events. This approach allows the story to explore complex themes, such as how places carry emotional significance and how unresolved histories can shape perceptions without drifting into horror or suspense. Another key sequence involves a collaborative classroom art project where children and teachers work together to create a large mural representing the school community. The mural includes trees, playgrounds, smiling children, teachers, and elements of imaginative spaces like the circular story room. Parents are invited to participate, adding their own drawings and notes of encouragement. The scene is visually rich, symbolizing how a community can create something vibrant and enduring when imagination, collaboration, and care converge. As the film progresses towards its emotional conclusion, the focus shifts towards the long-term impact of the preschool on the children. Subtle foreshadowing shows that the lessons learned in these formative years, empathy, curiosity, and the courage to express oneself, will shape the children's development well into the future. Teachers and parents reflect on how far the children have come, realizing that the most important learning was not academic but emotional. Through dialogue, visual storytelling, and the natural progression of the children's play, the film underscores the importance of early environments in fostering confidence, resilience, and creativity. The final sequences of this part feature a quiet day in the preschool. Children are scattered across classrooms and playgrounds, fully absorbed in play, reading, and creative projects. Teachers move among them with attentive care, gently guiding, observing, and occasionally joining in the activities. The director watches from a distance, a small smile on his face, recognizing that the school has evolved into a space where children feel safe to explore, imagine, and grow. Parents observe their children from the outdoor courtyard, engaging in casual conversations and appreciating the nurturing environment around them. The climax of Part 7 is not about resolving a mystery or revealing a secret, but about demonstrating the growth of the preschool community as a whole. The children's creative outputs, the strengthened relationships between parents and teachers, and the teachers' refined approach to guiding early education collectively show the film's most powerful theme, that nurturing environments are created when adults respect and support the curiosity, imagination, and emotional development of children. The story portrays education as a shared responsibility and a collaborative process, rather than a set of rigid rules or predetermined outcomes. The part concludes with the camera slowly panning across the preschool at sunset. Children's laughter echoes faintly, the classrooms are filled with sunlight, and drawings and creative projects adorn every wall. The circular story room motif appears again, this time as a collaborative construction made of blocks and paper, surrounded by children who are fully engaged in storytelling. The visual conveys a sense of continuity, showing that imagination, care, and community together shape not just spaces, but the people within them.
With this, the narrative in Part 7 emphasizes a holistic view of early childhood education, showing that the true power of such institutions lies not in their physical structures, but in the relationships, trust, and creativity nurtured within them.
In the final portion of Preschool, 2026, the story transitions fully from mystery and tension to reflection, emotional closure, and the lasting impact of early childhood experiences. The film takes a contemplative approach, showing how the preschool has evolved into a vibrant, nurturing space where children, parents, and teachers coexist in mutual understanding and respect. Whereas earlier parts of the story focused on uncovering the hidden past of the building and the psychological layers connected to it, this final chapter emphasizes growth, community, and the transformative power of education. The opening sequences of Part 8 begin with quiet moments in the classroom. Children engage in art projects, reading, and cooperative play. The camera lingers on small interactions, two children helping each other complete a puzzle, a child reading aloud while another listens attentively, and a teacher kneeling beside a child, listening patiently to an imaginative story. These moments are deliberately slow and detailed, emphasizing the emotional bonds forming within the preschool. They reflect the film's central theme, that emotional intelligence, empathy, and creativity are as essential to early childhood development as academic learning. Parents continue to play an active role in the story. Several scenes depict parents volunteering during classroom activities, helping to set up learning stations or participating in storytelling circles. The narrative shows that adult involvement is a vital component of a child's emotional growth. By actively engaging with their children's experiences, parents reinforce the lessons being taught in the classroom while modeling empathy, collaboration, and curiosity. One particularly touching scene shows a parent kneeling beside their child during painting time, asking questions about the colors and shapes, not to correct or judge, but to understand the child's imagination. This simple interaction conveys the profound effect of being present and attentive in a child's life. The preschool director also experiences personal growth in Part 8. Previously, he had been reluctant to share the building's history or address past mysteries for fear of alarming parents and damaging the school's reputation. By this stage in the story, he has embraced a more open and reflective role. In one quiet scene, he walks through the classrooms, observing children and teachers in action. He pauses to admire a wall of artwork depicting imaginative worlds, including multiple interpretations of the circular storyroom motif. He quietly acknowledges how the building, once tied to confusion and unanswered questions, has now become a space of creative empowerment. This arc demonstrates that leadership involves understanding the emotional landscape of those you guide, and that protecting children often means allowing them to explore curiosity safely, rather than shielding them from all uncertainty. Throughout Part 8, the children remain central to the narrative, and the story highlights their imaginative abilities as a form of communication and exploration. One particularly meaningful sequence shows a group of children constructing a miniature city using blocks, art supplies, and recycled materials. Each child contributes in their own way, deciding on buildings, roads, and playful elements of their city. Their teacher observes but does not interfere, offering gentle guidance only when necessary. This collaborative project becomes a microcosm of the film's broader message. When given freedom, support, and encouragement, children can create worlds that reflect empathy, creativity, and problem-solving skills. The circular storyroom, a recurring motif throughout the film, reaches its ultimate symbolic purpose in this final section. While it initially represented mystery and unease connected to the building's history, it now functions as a gathering space where children share stories, express emotions, and collaborate creatively. During a special activity near the end of the school year, children sit inside the circular room to tell imaginative tales aloud, building on each other's ideas in real time. The sequence is filled with warmth, laughter, and a sense of community, highlighting how spaces shaped by positive guidance can transform abstract fears into imaginative expression. An important subplot in Part 8 explores how the preschool impacts the children beyond the school walls. Parents note that their children are approaching social interactions with more confidence, solving conflicts with empathy, and sharing ideas creatively. Teachers comment on the transformation in the children's curiosity and problem-solving abilities, noting that the structured freedom of the preschool has prepared them for more complex social and academic challenges. These sequences underscore one of the film's most profound points. Early experiences shape not only immediate learning, but long-term emotional and social development. In addition to individual growth, the community as a whole demonstrates resilience and cohesion. Parents, teachers, and staff collaborate on organizing the final major school event of the year, a celebration of imagination. The playground is decorated with children's art, colorful banners, and imaginative installations inspired by the school's creative projects. Parents join in storytelling circles, teachers guide small group activities, and children excitedly present their work to families and peers. The scene captures the unity and shared purpose that has developed over the course of the story, showing how collective effort can transform learning spaces into environments of empowerment.
The film emphasizes reflection and the cyclical nature of education in its final classroom sequences. Teachers gather after the children have gone home, discussing the growth and progress of the students. They share moments of pride, acknowledge challenges, and plan how to nurture curiosity and creativity in the next group of children. The main teacher reflects privately on her own journey, from initially seeking to uncover the school's mysterious past, to realizing her most important role is guiding children through emotional, imaginative, and social development. This reflective approach gives viewers a sense of closure, highlighting the emotional depth and long-term impact of thoughtful early childhood education. The narrative concludes with a series of visual vignettes that reinforce the film's themes. Children are seen laughing on the playground, collaborating on creative projects, and quietly exploring books and learning materials. Teachers observe attentively, offering guidance without dominating the experience. Parents smile as they watch their children interact, understanding that the preschool has become more than a building. It is a community shaped by care, empathy, and imagination. The circular story room appears one final time, not as a source of mystery, but as a symbol of the continuity of creativity, collaboration, and emotional growth. The final shot is both serene and hopeful. The camera slowly pans across the classroom walls, filled with colorful artwork, imaginative projects, and drawings inspired by the children's experiences throughout the year. Sunlight streams through the windows, casting a warm glow across the room. The children's laughter can be heard faintly in the background as they play, explore, and create. The main teacher stands quietly, observing the scene with satisfaction and quiet pride. The director is nearby, reflecting on how the preschool has transformed not just the children, but the entire community. Parents linger in the background, sharing smiles and conversations that underline the collaborative success of the school. In its closing moments, Preschool 2026 delivers a profound and gentle message. Early childhood education is about far more than academics. It is about nurturing imagination, empathy, curiosity, and emotional resilience. Spaces for learning are defined not solely by their walls or past histories, but by the people who inhabit them and the relationships they cultivate. By the end of the story, viewers understand that even mysterious or challenging beginnings can lead to vibrant, inspiring environments when guided by care, openness, and creativity. The film leaves audiences with a sense of hope, reflection, and appreciation for the quiet power of childhood experiences. Children are depicted as capable of influencing the world around them in small but meaningful ways, while adults are reminded that their role in shaping early learning environments is both profound and lasting. Through its emotional depth, thoughtful storytelling, and careful balance of imagination and reflection, Preschool 2026 closes as a celebration of community, learning, and the enduring impact of nurturing the next generation.
Even though Preschool 2026 has concluded its narrative, Part 9 serves as a deeper exploration of the film's themes, production choices, and the lessons it leaves for audiences, especially those interested in early childhood development, storytelling, and community dynamics. Unlike the earlier parts, which followed the story chronologically, this section reflects, interprets, and analyzes the events, characters, and motifs, making it ideal for a YouTube commentary-style video. One of the most striking aspects of the film is how it portrays the interplay between imagination and memory. The circular story room, a motif repeated throughout the narrative, begins as a symbol of mystery connected to the land's past, but transforms into a space of creativity and collaboration. This evolution mirrors a key lesson about childhood. Spaces become meaningful not because of their structure, but because of how children interact with them. Every block stacked, every story told, and every drawing created adds layers of significance to the environment. For audiences, this demonstrates that nurturing creativity and emotional expression in early education has tangible effects that extend far beyond the classroom. The children in the film are not just passive participants in the story, they are central to its emotional depth. Their interactions, conflicts, and imaginative expressions illustrate how early experiences shape social and emotional intelligence. From negotiating shared play during construction projects to expressing complex ideas through art and storytelling, the children's behavior models emotional resilience, curiosity, and problem-solving. The film treats these moments with sensitivity, avoiding exaggeration or artificial drama. For viewers, this subtle portrayal highlights that learning is a holistic process. Academic skills matter, but so do empathy, imagination, and the confidence to express oneself. The adults' responses to the children also provide a key layer of insight. The teacher's growth throughout the story, from focusing on uncovering the building's mysterious past to fostering safe and imaginative spaces for the children, illustrates a broader lesson about education. The most profound impact comes not from controlling outcomes, but from facilitating exploration. The director's journey parallels this message, showing that leaders can evolve by embracing transparency, listening actively, and fostering trust within their community. By the end of the film, both teachers and parents recognize that their actions, attitudes, and willingness to engage emotionally shape not only the children's experiences, but also the culture of the school itself. Part 9 also emphasizes the importance of community in early childhood development. The film demonstrates that a school does not operate in isolation. It exists as part of a broader ecosystem involving parents, neighbors, and local stakeholders. Events like the family storytelling sessions, collaborative art projects, and outdoor celebrations highlight the benefits of collective participation. For a YouTube audience, this aspect of the story serves as a reminder that learning environments are strongest when children, families, and educators work together. The film subtly conveys that fostering empathy and creativity in children is most effective when supported by an engaged community. Another notable element is how Preschool 2026 handles the theme of history and memory. The land's previous use as an experimental educational facility is never fully resolved or explained, yet the children's imaginations connect to it in meaningful ways. This ambiguity allows the film to explore ideas about how environments carry echoes of the past without creating unnecessary fear. For viewers, it emphasizes that understanding history, whether personal, communal, or environmental, requires balance. Recognizing the past is important, but it should be framed in ways that empower rather than paralyze, reflecting one of the core lessons of the story. Emotional awareness and curiosity matter more than literal explanations. The visual storytelling in the film is also worth noting. Cinematography plays a key role in conveying the children's perspective. Low-angle shots, soft natural lighting, and close-ups on hands at work during creative activities immerse the audience in the world of the children. The camera often lingers on details, paintbrushes moving across paper, blocks carefully stacked, or laughter shared in a circle, reinforcing the idea that small moments hold deep significance. This approach subtly conveys the message that attention to detail and mindfulness in early learning spaces enhances both creativity and emotional development. For a YouTube audience, highlighting this production choice demonstrates how filmmakers can use visual techniques to deepen narrative meaning without relying on dialogue or exposition. Sound design also contributes to the film's emotional resonance. Gentle ambient noises, the shuffle of papers, soft laughter, the rustling of playground leaves create an immersive environment that reflects the rhythm of early childhood. The musical score emphasizes warmth and curiosity rather than tension, reinforcing the idea that the preschool is a safe space for exploration and imagination. These auditory choices support the narrative theme that learning environments should be welcoming and emotionally attuned, enhancing the film's overall message for viewers. The circular story room motif, revisited multiple times in the narrative, offers rich symbolic meaning for analysis. Initially associated with mystery and ambiguity, it evolves into a site of collaboration, storytelling, and imagination. In Part 9, this symbol can be interpreted as a metaphor for the potential of early childhood spaces to transform experiences. For children, such environments allow the unknown to become a source of creativity, not fear. For adults, it illustrates how guidance, empathy, and careful attention can shape both physical and emotional spaces, demonstrating a dynamic interplay between structure and imagination. The film's final sequences, depicting celebrations, collaborative projects, and quiet reflection, reinforce its overarching lesson. Early childhood education is as much about emotional and social growth as it is about academics. Children's imaginative play, combined with adult support and community involvement, creates a foundation for lifelong learning, creativity, and empathy. By including multiple perspectives, teachers, parents, and children, the film demonstrates that education is a shared responsibility and a continuous process. Finally, Part 9 encourages viewers to reflect on how these lessons apply beyond the classroom. While the story centers on a preschool, its themes resonate universally. The power of imagination, the importance of empathy, and the impact of nurturing environments extend to families, communities, and workplaces. The film reminds audiences that children's experiences are deeply influenced by adults' actions, attitudes, and willingness to engage openly. It highlights the enduring truth that supporting curiosity, creativity, and emotional expression in young minds shapes not just their development, but also the culture of the communities they grow up in. In conclusion, Part 9 frames Preschool 2026 as more than a narrative about a building or a mysterious past. It is a meditation on childhood, imagination, community, and the profound influence adults have on shaping early experiences. The story encourages parents, teachers, and viewers to consider the emotional, social, and imaginative needs of children, and to recognize the power of environments that nurture curiosity and empathy. Through its careful storytelling, visual richness, and thoughtful use of recurring motifs, the film leaves audiences with a message that is both uplifting and timeless. The spaces we create for children today echo into the future, shaping individuals, communities, and the next generation in ways that matter far beyond what can be measured.
Part 10 builds on the thematic and reflective exploration introduced in Part 9, but goes even further, highlighting actionable lessons, philosophical takeaways, and viewer-focused commentary that a YouTube audience can connect with. It focuses on tying the story's emotional and educational elements into broader insights about childhood, community, and creativity, making it feel like a natural continuation and conclusion of the extended script. One of the strongest messages in this section is the importance of intentionality in early childhood environments. Throughout the film, it becomes clear that the physical and emotional space of the preschool shapes how children learn, play, and interact. Every colorful wall, every toy, every classroom layout contributes to a sense of safety and possibility.
Part 10 emphasizes that this principle is universal. Whether in homes, schools, or community spaces, children respond most positively when adults design environments that encourage exploration, self-expression, and emotional growth. The story demonstrates this through recurring examples, such as children using the circular story room to collaborate, problem-solve, and share stories. The circular story room, perhaps the most enduring motif in the film, evolves in meaning yet again in this section. Initially a symbol of mystery and unresolved history, it transforms into a representation of continuity, creativity, and connection. Part 10 analyzes how this transformation mirrors the film's broader lesson. Challenges, uncertainties, and even ambiguities can be reshaped into tools for learning and growth. For a YouTube audience, this is a key takeaway. Environments and experiences, no matter their origin, can be transformed when approached with curiosity, empathy, and imagination. Another significant focus is the impact of adult modeling. Throughout the story, adults demonstrate behaviors that profoundly affect children. Teachers who listen, observe, and guide without dominating show children how to think critically, express themselves, and resolve conflicts peacefully. Parents who engage actively in storytelling, art, and play reinforce the same values outside the classroom. Part 10 emphasizes that these adult behaviors are just as important as any structured lesson. Children internalize how adults approach problems, emotions, and relationships. By consciously modeling empathy, creativity, and collaboration, adults cultivate essential life skills in children that extend far beyond preschool. Part 10 also explores the idea of memory and legacy. The preschool's history, both the mysterious past of the building and the present experiences of the children, serves as a metaphor for how environments carry emotional resonance over time. Even when the origins of a space are unclear or complicated, the energy and creativity that current inhabitants bring can redefine its meaning. For viewers, this illustrates that legacy is not fixed. It is created through intentional, thoughtful action. The preschool transforms from a site of uncertainty into a place of vibrant learning, precisely because the adults and children work together to shape it positively. The narrative further emphasizes the value of collaboration and shared responsibility. Throughout the film, teachers, parents, and staff work as a team to support the children's growth. Part 10 highlights scenes where parents participate in creative projects, where teachers coordinate group activities, and where children collectively construct imaginative play environments. This recurring emphasis demonstrates that the most successful learning spaces are not built by a single individual, but by a community that trusts and engages with one another. For YouTube viewers, it reinforces a universal principle. Shared effort and active participation create stronger, more resilient communities. In addition, Part 10 analyzes how Preschool 2026 balances curiosity with safety. While the mysterious past of the building initially creates tension, the story shows that allowing children to explore uncertainty in a safe, guided environment fosters emotional resilience. For example, children who draw or describe elements of the circular story room are never punished or dismissed. Instead, their observations and creativity are validated. This principle extends to real-world education. Children flourish when exploration is encouraged, and adults provide gentle guidance rather than fear-based control. The film also demonstrates how small, consistent acts of encouragement can have profound impacts. Part 10 highlights recurring scenes where teachers notice small achievements, provide positive reinforcement, and create opportunities for children to take pride in their creations. These moments illustrate that emotional validation and support are crucial components of early learning. For a YouTube audience, it's a reminder that teaching and parenting are less about grand gestures and more about consistent, thoughtful engagement that fosters self-confidence, curiosity, and joy. One of the final themes explored in Part 10 is imagination as a tool for understanding and connection. The circular story room, the collaborative art projects, and storytelling activities all emphasize that imagination is not just play. It is a medium for children to process experiences, express feelings, and understand relationships. The film portrays imagination as a bridge between the known and the unknown, between past and present, and between children and adults. By recognizing the power of imaginative engagement, Part 10 underscores a timeless lesson. Fostering creativity early in life equips children with essential problem-solving and emotional skills for the future. The closing sequences in this section emphasize continuity and hope.
Children play, create, and learn in ways that honor both the history of the space and the intentional guidance of adults. Teachers and parents reflect on their own growth, recognizing that nurturing environments benefit not just children, but also the adults involved. The film's visual cues, sunlight streaming through the windows, colorful art adorning the walls, children collaborating joyfully, reinforce the message that learning spaces thrive when emotional care, creativity, and community are prioritized. Finally, Part 10 frames the story of Preschool 2026 as a universal lesson. While the narrative centers on a single preschool, the broader takeaways apply to all environments where children grow: homes, schools, community centers, and even neighborhoods. It teaches viewers that children are shaped not only by structured lessons, but also by the relationships, spaces, and emotional climates that surround them. By investing time, care, and creativity into these spaces, adults create lasting impacts on future generations. In its final moments, the film and Part 10 together leave viewers with a clear, uplifting message. Nurturing childhood is a collective responsibility, and imagination, empathy, and collaboration are the tools that make it possible. The circular story room, once a source of mystery, becomes a symbol of potential, the idea that spaces, relationships, and creativity can transform uncertainty into growth. Children's laughter, artwork, and play echo as a reminder that the lessons of early education extend far beyond any classroom. By combining reflection, analysis, and thematic exploration, Part 10 not only complements the story of the preschool itself, but also provides audiences with actionable insights for real life. Parents, educators, and communities are encouraged to consider how they can foster environments that nurture curiosity, emotional intelligence, and creative expression. The film, through its gentle and thoughtful storytelling, ultimately demonstrates that childhood experiences shape not just individuals, but the culture and emotional fabric of the communities they inhabit.
Part 11 expands the story even further by focusing on reflection, audience engagement, and practical lessons that tie the narrative of Preschool 2026 to real-world implications. While the previous parts explored the story, characters, and themes, Part 11 functions as a meta-commentary, connecting the emotional journey of the film to insights viewers can carry into their own lives, particularly regarding education, parenting, creativity, and community involvement. A key focus of this part is the long-term impact of early childhood experiences. The film repeatedly emphasizes that the environment children grow up in influences their social, emotional, and cognitive development. In Part 11, this theme is explored more deeply. The story shows that even seemingly small acts, listening attentively to a child's story, encouraging a drawing, or participating in imaginative play, can leave lasting impressions on a child's confidence and curiosity. The narrative encourages viewers to consider how every interaction with a child contributes to shaping their perception of the world and their place within it. The children in Preschool 2026 are portrayed as both resilient and highly perceptive, demonstrating that they can absorb and reflect the energy of the adults around them. Part 11 highlights specific examples. A child who hesitated to speak now confidently shares stories with classmates, or a shy child who struggled to collaborate is now actively participating in group projects. These examples reinforce the idea that supportive guidance and emotional encouragement create measurable growth, showing audiences that nurturing environments are not abstract concepts. They have tangible, observable effects on children's development. Another central theme in Part 11 is the role of curiosity and imagination in learning. The circular story room, which appeared throughout the film as a recurring motif, continues to symbolize the importance of spaces where creativity can flourish. Part 11 emphasizes that allowing children to explore, experiment, and imagine without fear of judgment builds critical thinking and problem-solving skills. For a YouTube audience, this reinforces a practical takeaway. Encouraging imaginative activities at home, in schools, or in community programs is essential for holistic development, fostering skills that will serve children throughout their lives. Part 11 also focuses on the adult community within the story, teachers, parents, and staff, and how their evolution mirrors that of the children. Teachers learn to balance guidance with freedom, understanding that children often learn best when allowed to take ownership of their experiences. Parents grow to trust the process, participating more actively in learning activities and modeling behaviors such as empathy, patience, and creativity. By showing the mutual influence of adults and children, the film illustrates that education is not a one-way process. It is collaborative and requires consistent, conscious effort from the entire community. Conflict resolution and empathy are further explored in this part. The children are repeatedly shown resolving minor disagreements on their own, negotiating play, and supporting one another's ideas. These moments are subtle but impactful, demonstrating that when children are given a safe, structured environment, they naturally develop social skills and emotional intelligence. Part 11 underscores that these skills are just as important as traditional academic knowledge, offering a broader lesson.
Emotional literacy is foundational to lifelong success. Another key aspect covered in Part 11 is the significance of storytelling, both as a creative exercise and as a means of connecting generations. The children frequently use imaginative stories to interpret their experiences, express feelings, and connect with peers. Adults participate in storytelling activities as well, sharing personal experiences and memories that strengthen bonds and create shared understanding. By highlighting this dynamic, Part 11 illustrates the transformative power of narrative. It allows children to process emotions, encourages communication, and fosters empathy. Part 11 also emphasizes the importance of reflection. Teachers, parents, and even the director take moments to observe, think, and adjust their approaches. They reflect on what works, what could improve, and how the children respond to guidance. This theme extends to the audience as well, encouraging viewers to consider their own actions and environments. Reflection, the film suggests, is a key tool in creating spaces where children feel valued, understood, and encouraged to explore their potential. The preschool's evolution is a major focus in this part. From a building tied to mysterious memories and past uncertainties, it becomes a dynamic, nurturing space where children thrive emotionally and creatively. Part 11 emphasizes that physical spaces themselves are shaped by the people who inhabit them. The circular story room, collaborative art projects, and outdoor play areas symbolize how intentionality, care, and creativity transform ordinary spaces into environments that encourage growth and exploration. In Part 11, the narrative also explores how lessons from the preschool extend into broader life skills. Children are shown developing independence, confidence, and a sense of responsibility for their actions. They practice empathy, cooperation, and problem-solving in playful ways, demonstrating that early experience.
Part 12 builds further on the reflective and analytical approach of Parts 9 to 11, extending the discussion into broader philosophical and educational insights inspired by Preschool 2026. While the earlier sections focused on story, character arcs, and thematic lessons, Part 12 emphasizes actionable takeaways, connections to real-life childhood education, and the emotional resonance that the film leaves with audiences. This part is ideal for a long-form YouTube script, where viewers not only follow the narrative, but also gain meaningful insights applicable to families, educators, and communities. A central focus of this part is the idea that emotional environments are as crucial as physical spaces. The preschool is not defined merely by its building, playground, or classrooms, but by the warmth, attention, and care that teachers and parents bring to each interaction. Children respond to these emotional cues as strongly as they respond to tangible materials or activities. Part 12 explores this by analyzing moments where children thrive under subtle encouragement, such as when a teacher quietly notices a child's creative solution to a problem, or when parents actively engage in storytelling exercises. These instances reinforce the idea that emotional validation and support are fundamental pillars of early childhood education. The circular story room continues to serve as a powerful symbol, now viewed through a lens of resilience and adaptability. Initially, it represented the unknown, a subtle mystery tied to the history of the building. Over the course of the story, it transforms into a collaborative, creative space where children experiment, imagine, and connect with one another. Part 12 highlights how this evolution illustrates the larger principle that challenges or uncertainties can be reframed as opportunities for growth and innovation. For YouTube audiences, the takeaway is clear. Environments that encourage curiosity, exploration, and emotional expression empower children to navigate uncertainty with confidence. Part 12 also delves deeper into the adult characters' growth, particularly the teachers and the preschool director. By participating in reflection, collaboration, and creative engagement, adults model behaviors that children internalize. The teacher's approach, balancing guidance with autonomy, demonstrates that children benefit most when adults allow them to take ownership of their experiences while providing gentle structure and support. Similarly, the director's willingness to embrace transparency about the building's past illustrates how courage, honesty, and thoughtful leadership contribute to creating environments where children feel safe and inspired. These lessons extend beyond the film, offering audiences actionable insights about fostering healthy, emotionally intelligent communities. Another theme explored in this part is the role of imagination as both a cognitive and emotional tool. The children's use of storytelling, drawing, and collaborative construction projects reflects a fundamental truth. Imagination is a form of problem-solving and self-expression. Part 12 emphasizes that encouraging imaginative activities in early childhood not only enhances creativity, but also strengthens social skills, empathy, and resilience. For viewers, the film illustrates that play is not trivial. It is a crucial mechanism through which children understand the world, process emotions, and connect with others. Conflict resolution and collaboration are highlighted further. Across the narrative, children demonstrate remarkable abilities to negotiate, share, and adapt during play. Part 12 analyzes these moments, showing that when children feel supported and safe, they naturally develop interpersonal skills that will serve them throughout life. This is reinforced through examples like group construction projects, storytelling circles, and collaborative art initiatives.
For educators and parents watching the video, these examples underline the importance of giving children space to navigate social interactions while offering guidance and encouragement as needed. Part 12 also examines the broader community impact of the preschool. The narrative shows that learning is a shared responsibility, involving teachers, parents, staff, and neighbors. Events like family storytelling nights, collaborative art exhibitions, and playground celebrations demonstrate that communities that invest in nurturing environments collectively enhance children's growth. By highlighting these moments, Part 12 emphasizes the idea that emotional and social development is most effective when supported by a network of engaged, caring adults. For a YouTube audience, this reinforces the universal lesson: strong communities produce strong, empathetic, and creative children. The film's handling of memory and history is revisited in this section. While the building's mysterious past initially created tension, the narrative demonstrates that understanding history does not have to be frightening. Instead, past experiences, whether known or partially unknown, can be acknowledged, discussed, and transformed into tools for learning and creative expression. Children's imaginative engagement with echoes of the past, such as the circular story room, becomes a positive exercise in creativity and collaboration rather than fear. Part 12 underscores that teaching children to explore and reflect on history encourages curiosity, critical thinking, and emotional resilience. Another important lesson emphasized is consistency and patience. The film shows that small, repeated acts of guidance, encouragement, and validation have a cumulative effect on children's development. Part 12 highlights scenes where teachers celebrate minor achievements, gently direct behaviors, and provide opportunities for creative expression. These consistent practices, though subtle, shape children's confidence, problem-solving abilities, and emotional awareness over time. For viewers, the takeaway is clear: nurturing growth is a process that requires dedication, mindfulness, and persistence. Part 12 also addresses the universal value of storytelling as a tool for connection. Children and adults alike use stories to communicate, process emotions, and explore ideas. Through collaborative narratives in the circular story room and family storytelling events, the film demonstrates that storytelling fosters empathy, understanding, and social cohesion. For a YouTube audience, this reinforces the broader theme that narrative experiences are not just entertaining, they are essential mechanisms for human development and relational growth. Finally, Part 12 concludes with a reflection on the enduring power of community, creativity, and emotional guidance. The preschool becomes a living example of how spaces shaped by care, attention, and collaboration nurture children holistically. Children flourish not only academically, but emotionally and socially, while adults grow alongside them, learning lessons in patience, empathy, and the transformative power of imagination. The final images, children laughing in collaborative play, teachers observing with attentive care, parents engaging in creative activities, and the circular story room filled with stories and projects, symbolize the lasting impact of an environment where curiosity, creativity, and compassion are prioritized. This part serves to tie the film's story into a broader commentary for viewers. Early childhood is a critical period for shaping personalities, skills, and emotional intelligence, and the adults in a child's life have a profound influence on these outcomes. Preschool 2026 is both a narrative and a guidepost, reminding audiences that the way children are nurtured today determines the kind of society we will have tomorrow.
Part 13 continues the extended commentary and reflection, taking Preschool 2026 beyond its narrative and focusing on deeper insights about child development, emotional intelligence, and the role of adults in shaping experiences. While previous parts explored story, themes, and lessons, this section emphasizes applying the film's insights to everyday life, making it ideal for long-format YouTube content. A central theme explored in Part 13 is the power of observation in early childhood education. Throughout the film, teachers and parents spend time quietly watching children, noting their interactions, preferences, and problem-solving approaches. These observations are not passive. They inform guidance, intervention, and support. Part 13 underscores that the ability to carefully observe without immediately intervening allows children to explore independently while still feeling supported. For viewers, this is a practical takeaway. Giving children space to experiment while paying close attention to their behavior helps adults identify strengths, challenges, and opportunities for growth. Another key focus is emotional regulation and its early development. The children in the story experience minor conflicts, moments of frustration, and challenges in collaborative play. The teacher's responses, calm, patient, and supportive, model healthy emotional regulation. By seeing adults manage emotions effectively, children learn to mirror these behaviors, internalizing skills such as patience, compromise, and empathy. Part 13 emphasizes that early exposure to emotionally intelligent adults is a crucial factor in helping children develop resilience and social skills. The film's visual motifs and cinematic choices are further explored here. The circular story room, colorful classrooms, and interactive playgrounds are more than backdrops. They serve as narrative devices that reflect the inner world of the children. Low-angle shots, close-ups of hands at work, and lingering frames on collaborative projects immerse the audience in the children's perspective. Part 13 highlights how these artistic choices communicate themes of creativity, exploration, and emotional engagement without explicit dialogue. For a YouTube audience, this demonstrates how storytelling in film can model the very principles the story conveys: attention to detail, observation, and nurturing curiosity. Community involvement remains a central point in this section. The story repeatedly shows that children thrive best when parents, teachers, and staff participate collaboratively. Part 13 emphasizes that active engagement from adults, whether it's participating in art projects, storytelling sessions, or outdoor activities, strengthens the emotional and social environment of the preschool. The film's depiction of shared responsibility reinforces the idea that early childhood education is not just the responsibility of the teacher, but of the entire community. Audiences are encouraged to consider how they can contribute to creating nurturing spaces for children in their own lives. Part 13 also explores the interplay between play and learning. Children in the film use imaginative storytelling, building blocks, and collaborative art to experiment with ideas, solve problems, and explore relationships. The narrative repeatedly shows that learning happens most effectively when it is embedded in play, creativity, and curiosity. By framing play as a serious form of cognitive and emotional development, Part 13 highlights a major takeaway for viewers. Structured play, when guided thoughtfully, fosters critical thinking, problem-solving, and emotional literacy. Resilience and adaptability are further emphasized. Throughout the preschool's year, children encounter minor setbacks, misunderstandings with peers, mistakes in building projects, or frustration during complex tasks. The supportive environment allows them to recover, adapt, and continue exploring. The circular story room symbolizes this concept. An initially uncertain space transforms into a hub of creativity, collaboration, and confidence. Part 13 underscores that providing children with safe opportunities to navigate challenges builds resilience, an essential skill for life beyond the classroom. The role of storytelling as a developmental tool is revisited in depth. Children use stories to interpret experiences, express emotions, and communicate ideas. Adults participate by sharing their own narratives, bridging generational perspectives, and creating empathy. Part 13 highlights that narrative skills develop emotional intelligence, perspective-taking, and cognitive flexibility. The film's repeated focus on shared storytelling provides viewers with the lesson that storytelling is not only entertainment, it is an educational and social tool that connects children to each other and to the adults guiding them. Part 13 also examines the long-term ripple effects of early learning. The film demonstrates that the lessons children absorb in preschool, empathy, collaboration, creativity, curiosity, extend far beyond the school setting. By portraying these ripple effects, the film illustrates that investing in nurturing, emotionally intelligent early education yields benefits that persist throughout life. For a YouTube audience, this reinforces the importance of fostering environments where children are empowered to explore, express, and connect. The section concludes by reflecting on the holistic approach to education portrayed in the film. Preschool 2026 is not solely concerned with academics. It prioritizes emotional growth, creative exploration, social skills, and community participation. Part 13 emphasizes that this balanced approach is essential for cultivating well-rounded, resilient, and empathetic individuals. The combination of guided learning, imaginative play, attentive observation, and adult modeling forms a framework for lifelong growth. The final imagery in this part reinforces the message. Children are seen collaborating, laughing, and storytelling in the circular story room, while teachers guide without interference and parents participate thoughtfully. Sunlight illuminates classrooms adorned with creative projects, symbolizing hope, growth, and the transformative power of supportive learning spaces. The scene captures the essence of the film. Environments shaped by empathy, creativity, and connection produce children capable of navigating both challenges and opportunities with confidence and imagination. In essence, Part 13 positions Preschool 2026 as a guide for understanding early childhood development, the importance of emotional intelligence, and the lasting influence of community-supported education. The narrative demonstrates that when adults cultivate safe, engaging, and imaginative spaces, children flourish not just academically, but socially and emotionally, leaving audiences with meaningful, actionable insights that extend far beyond the screen.
Part 14 serves as an ultimate thematic reflection on Preschool 2026, expanding upon previous parts by synthesizing lessons from the story, highlighting practical applications for parents and educators, and connecting the film's narrative to broader ideas about community, creativity, and child development. This section is designed for a YouTube audience, providing both commentary and actionable insights while maintaining narrative engagement. A major focus of Part 14 is the long-term impact of intentional guidance. Throughout the film, adults consistently model empathy, curiosity, and collaboration, creating a foundation for children to grow both emotionally and socially. Part 14 emphasizes that small, deliberate actions, listening attentively, validating feelings, asking questions instead of giving answers, have profound effects over time. The story demonstrates that early interventions in a child's environment shape not only immediate behavior, but also lifelong habits, resilience, and confidence. For a YouTube audience, this translates into a practical reminder. Consistent emotional guidance is as important as academic instruction in early childhood. The film's recurring circular story room motif is revisited here as a symbol of both continuity and potential. Initially, a space filled with mystery and ambiguity, it evolves into a hub of creativity, problem-solving, and shared storytelling. Part 14 highlights that this transformation mirrors a larger educational principle. Spaces and experiences acquire meaning based on how adults and children engage with them. By fostering environments that encourage curiosity, imaginative exploration, and emotional expression, adults provide children with tools to navigate uncertainty, collaborate with peers, and develop critical thinking skills. Another key insight in Part 14 is the importance of reflective practice for adults. Teachers, parents, and even the preschool director continually observe, reflect, and adjust their approach based on the children's needs and responses. This process not only improves the quality of instruction, but also models emotional intelligence for the children. Reflection allows adults to recognize patterns, celebrate successes, and address challenges proactively. For viewers, this reinforces a key takeaway. Growth in children is amplified when adults engage in thoughtful reflection and respond intentionally to the evolving needs of their learners. Part 14 also underscores the role of imagination as a tool for learning and emotional processing. Children in the film use storytelling, art, and play to interpret experiences, solve problems, and communicate feelings. The narrative emphasizes that imagination is not merely entertainment, it is a vital mechanism for cognitive, emotional, and social development. By exploring how imaginative spaces like the circular story room facilitate these processes, Part 14 demonstrates to audiences that fostering creativity in early childhood produces children who are more adaptable, empathetic, and capable of innovative thinking. Social-emotional development is another theme explored in depth. The children navigate conflicts, practice empathy, and learn to collaborate on group projects. The supportive presence of adults ensures that these interactions are constructive, allowing children to internalize conflict resolution skills and emotional awareness. Part 14 highlights that these soft skills are equally important as academic learning, equipping children with the ability to handle real-world challenges in relationships, teamwork, and personal growth. For viewers, the film illustrates that social-emotional learning should be intentionally integrated into all early childhood experiences. Community involvement is further analyzed in this section. The film repeatedly emphasizes that children thrive when parents, teachers, and staff actively participate in creating and maintaining nurturing environments. Activities such as collaborative storytelling, art exhibitions, and group celebrations foster connection, trust, and shared responsibility. Part 14 underscores that community engagement strengthens emotional safety, encourages collaboration, and amplifies the positive effects of early education. Audiences are reminded that investing in children's environments benefits not just individual children, but the broader community as well. Part 14 also reflects on the importance of embracing challenges and uncertainty. The preschool's history, including its mysterious past and the initial ambiguity surrounding the circular story room, creates opportunities for children to explore and question in safe ways. By turning uncertainty into a space for creativity rather than fear, the story demonstrates a key educational principle. Challenges become powerful learning experiences when approached with curiosity and guidance. For parents and educators watching, this reinforces the value of allowing children to experience controlled risks, solve problems independently, and develop resilience. The narrative emphasizes consistency and patience in adult guidance. The children's growth is not instantaneous. It occurs gradually through repeated exposure to supportive interactions, creative opportunities, and positive reinforcement. Teachers and parents celebrate small successes, provide gentle redirection, and offer encouragement consistently. Part 14 highlights that nurturing children is a process requiring dedication, mindfulness, and perseverance. For viewers, this insight serves as a reminder that emotional and cognitive development flourishes when adults maintain stable, attentive, and responsive engagement. Storytelling as a developmental tool is explored further. The film shows children using stories to make sense of their environment, express emotions, and connect with others. Adults contribute by sharing their own experiences, bridging generational understanding and reinforcing empathy. Part 14 illustrates that storytelling is both a cognitive and emotional exercise, helping children process experiences while learning to communicate effectively. For audiences, the lesson is clear. Narrative experiences are essential for holistic growth, offering children a framework to navigate both internal and external challenges. Finally, Part 14 synthesizes the film's overall message. Preschool 2026 is not just a story about a building or a group of children. It is a meditation on the transformative power of environments shaped by care, creativity, and community. The children's laughter, collaboration, and imaginative play, combined with thoughtful adult guidance, demonstrate that early experiences have profound, lasting effects. The circular story room, once mysterious, becomes a symbol of potential. The idea that spaces and relationships can transform uncertainty into growth, fear into creativity, and challenges into opportunities. Acti. In conclusion, Part 14 positions the film as both narrative and guide, offering viewers practical insights about child development, emotional intelligence, and community engagement.
The story reinforces that early childhood is a period of immense potential, and that intentional, empathetic guidance can shape individuals and communities for the better. It leaves audiences with a clear takeaway. Nurturing children with care, creativity, and connection is not just an investment in their future, it is an investment in a stronger, more compassionate society.
Part 15 expands on the reflective and analytical approach of the previous sections, positioning Preschool 2026 not only as a story about a school, but also as a profound commentary on childhood, imagination, and the interdependent roles of adults and communities in shaping early development. This part emphasizes practical lessons, philosophical takeaways, and deeper audience engagement, making it ideal for a long-form YouTube script. A central focus of Part 15 is the interplay between autonomy and guidance. Throughout the film, children are given freedom to explore, create, and interact, while adults provide gentle guidance. The narrative demonstrates that children thrive when they can make choices within a safe, structured environment. Part 15 emphasizes that this balance is critical. Too much freedom can lead to confusion or overwhelm, while too much control stifles creativity and self-expression. The film showcases moments where children independently solve problems, collaborate on imaginative projects, and take pride in their accomplishments, reinforcing the idea that autonomy paired with thoughtful guidance fosters confidence and growth. The circular story room continues to hold symbolic importance in this part. Initially a mysterious and slightly unsettling space, it evolves into a hub of creativity, collaboration, and emotional exploration. Part 15 interprets this transformation as a metaphor for the role of safe, intentional spaces in early childhood development. The room becomes a canvas for imagination and learning, illustrating how thoughtfully designed environments can transform uncertainty into opportunity. For viewers, the film highlights the broader principle that the spaces we create for children, whether classrooms, playgrounds, or home quarters, profoundly influence how they engage, explore, and develop. Part 15 also examines the long-term effects of emotional validation. Teachers and parents repeatedly demonstrate the power of noticing small achievements, listening attentively, and encouraging children's ideas. These consistent acts of recognition help children internalize confidence, curiosity, and resilience. The film shows that validation does not require grand gestures. It is often small, thoughtful interactions that leave lasting impressions. For a YouTube audience, this reinforces a key lesson. Nurturing emotional growth is a process of consistency, presence, and mindfulness. Another significant theme in Part 15 is collaboration as a tool for learning. Children in the preschool work together on group projects, storytelling circles, and creative art activities. These experiences teach them negotiation, empathy, and problem-solving skills. The narrative shows that collaboration is not just about completing a task, it is about learning to listen, compromise, and integrate diverse perspectives. Part 15 emphasizes that these lessons extend beyond the classroom. Children who experience collaboration early in life are better equipped to navigate social relationships, teamwork, and community interactions as they grow. The film also reinforces the importance of imaginative play in cognitive development. Children use storytelling, drawing, and building activities to explore ideas, express emotions, and understand relationships. Part 15 analyzes how these creative exercises support problem-solving, abstract thinking, and emotional literacy. The circular story room in particular serves as a metaphor for the imaginative potential inherent in early learning spaces. For viewers, the takeaway is clear. Fostering creativity is not optional. It is essential for developing adaptive, resilient, and emotionally intelligent individuals. Conflict resolution and social-emotional learning are explored further in this part. The children encounter minor disputes, challenges in group play, and moments of frustration, all of which are guided constructively by teachers. By providing support without over-controlling, adults help children develop skills in empathy, negotiation, and self-regulation. Part 15 emphasizes that these soft skills are foundational for lifelong success, reinforcing the message that education extends beyond academics to include emotional intelligence and interpersonal growth. Community engagement is another central focus. Parents, teachers, and staff actively participate in classroom activities, celebrations, and collaborative projects. Part 15 highlights how this shared involvement strengthens emotional bonds, builds trust, and fosters a sense of belonging. The film illustrates that when adults collectively invest in children's environments, the benefits extend far beyond individual achievements, creating resilient, connected, and empathetic communities. Part 15 also addresses embracing curiosity and managing uncertainty. The preschool's mysterious history and the initially ambiguous circular story room create a safe space for children to explore unknowns without fear. The film demonstrates that encountering uncertainty in controlled, supportive contexts encourages children to ask questions, experiment, and develop creative solutions. For YouTube viewers, this is a practical lesson.
Children should be encouraged to explore, take risks, and learn from trial and error in emotionally safe environments. Consistency and patience are reinforced as critical adult practices. Teachers and parents demonstrate that emotional and cognitive growth is cumulative, shaped by ongoing attention, encouragement, and guidance. Part 15 emphasizes that these qualities, patience, reflection, and thoughtful support, produce lasting developmental outcomes, teaching viewers that effective parenting and education require sustained effort and dedication. Finally, Part 15 synthesizes the overarching messages of Preschool 2026. Children flourish when they are given safe, creative, and emotionally supportive environments. Adults shape growth through empathy, reflection, and active participation, and collaborative communities amplify the benefits of early learning. The final images reinforce these lessons: children laughing, creating, and storytelling, teachers observing and guiding gently, parents engaged and supportive, and the circular story room filled with projects, stories, and imagination. These visuals symbolize the transformative power of care, creativity, and connection in shaping young lives. Part 15 concludes by reminding audiences that the lessons of the film extend far beyond the preschool setting. Whether at home, in schools, or within broader communities, fostering environments that prioritize emotional intelligence, creativity, collaboration, and curiosity has a ripple effect on individuals and society. The story of Preschool 2026 illustrates that the experiences, guidance, and spaces children engage with today influence the adults, communities, and societies they become tomorrow.
Part 16 serves as the ultimate wrap-up and synthesis of Preschool 2026, tying together the story, themes, and insights from all previous parts, while emphasizing practical and philosophical lessons that resonate with viewers. This section focuses on creating a comprehensive reflection suitable for a long-form YouTube video, combining narrative commentary with actionable takeaways for parents, educators, and anyone invested in childhood development. A central theme in Part 16 is the enduring power of intentional environments. Throughout the film, it becomes clear that children's experiences are shaped not only by people, but also by spaces. The preschool building, playground, and circular story room are transformed from ordinary spaces into extraordinary hubs of creativity, exploration, and emotional growth because adults intentionally cultivate them with care, attention, and thoughtfulness. Part 16 emphasizes that adults can influence outcomes in profound ways. By designing emotionally supportive, stimulating, and safe environments, children are given opportunities to thrive intellectually, socially, and emotionally. The circular story room, revisited for the final time, symbolizes the culmination of the film's lessons. Initially mysterious and ambiguous, it evolves into a dynamic space that fosters collaboration, imagination, and problem-solving. Part 16 highlights that the transformation of the room mirrors the transformation of the children and adults alike. Uncertainty becomes opportunity, curiosity leads to growth, and engagement creates meaning. For viewers, this serves as a metaphor for the potential in all spaces, relationships, and experiences. When approached thoughtfully, even the unknown can be a source of learning, creativity, and joy. Another focus is the transformative role of empathy and emotional guidance. Teachers and parents consistently model empathy, patience, and reflection, providing children with a framework for understanding themselves and others. Part 16 emphasizes that these lessons are not simply absorbed cognitively, they are internalized through repeated observation and interaction. Children learn to navigate challenges, regulate emotions, and collaborate effectively because adults provide both a stable foundation and thoughtful guidance. For a YouTube audience, the key takeaway is clear. Emotional modeling is just as important as teaching facts or skills. The film also underscores collaboration and community as foundational elements of growth. Throughout the story, children, teachers, parents, and staff participate in projects, storytelling, and celebrations together. Part 16 highlights that these shared experiences strengthen trust, communication, and a sense of belonging, which are critical for healthy development. The narrative demonstrates that education is not a solitary effort, but a collective one. When communities invest time, creativity, and care, children benefit exponentially, gaining confidence, empathy, and resilience. Part 16 further explores the role of imaginative play and creativity. Children use art, storytelling, and construction projects to process experiences, express emotions, and connect with peers. The circular story room, in particular, allows them to explore ideas freely and collaboratively. This emphasizes a universal principle. Play is a serious developmental tool that fosters problem-solving, abstract thinking, and emotional literacy. For viewers, the film illustrates that encouraging creativity early in life equips children with essential skills that extend far beyond academic learning.
The theme of resilience and adaptability is also central in this part. Children encounter challenges, conflicts, and moments of frustration throughout the preschool experience. With adult support and emotionally safe spaces, they learn to navigate setbacks, find solutions, and grow from each experience. Part 16 stresses that resilience is cultivated through guided exposure to challenges, patience, and supportive modeling. The film's narrative demonstrates that these lessons, learned in early childhood, form the foundation for lifelong adaptability, perseverance, and confidence. Storytelling as a developmental tool is highlighted again. The children use narratives to interpret experiences, express feelings, and communicate with peers, while adults contribute their own stories to bridge generational perspectives and foster empathy. Part 16 emphasizes that storytelling is a vehicle for emotional intelligence, social understanding, and creative thinking. By illustrating the benefits of narrative engagement, the film communicates that sharing and creating stories is a powerful method for learning and connection. Consistency and patience in adult guidance remain critical points. Teachers and parents demonstrate that growth is a gradual process, shaped by repeated encouragement, observation, and engagement. Part 16 emphasizes that nurturing children's cognitive, emotional, and social abilities is not about immediate results, but about consistent, thoughtful action over time. For viewers, this reinforces the idea that intentionality and patience are essential for creating lasting developmental impacts. Part 16 also addresses embracing curiosity and controlled risk-taking. The children are encouraged to explore uncertainty, solve problems creatively, and experiment without fear of failure. The film demonstrates that safe opportunities for trial and error foster independence, confidence, and critical thinking. For YouTube audiences, the takeaway is practical. Allowing children to navigate challenges with support helps them develop skills they will carry throughout life. The film's visual storytelling is revisited in Part 16 as a reflection of its thematic depth. Close-ups of hands at work, laughter shared in circles, sunlight illuminating creative projects, and collaborative play sequences reinforce the emotional and cognitive growth occurring throughout the preschool. These visual cues not only enhance narrative engagement, but also illustrate the principles the film conveys. Attention, observation, empathy, and intentional design matter. Finally, Part 16 synthesizes the overarching lessons of Preschool 2026. Children thrive when supported by emotionally intelligent adults, safe and stimulating environments, and engaged communities. The story demonstrates that imagination, creativity, collaboration, empathy, and reflection are the cornerstones of meaningful growth. The final imagery, children playing, adults guiding gently, and the circular story room filled with projects, laughter, and imagination embodies the transformative potential of nurturing spaces. In conclusion, Part 16 frames the film as both a narrative and a guide. It emphasizes that early childhood experiences shape the individuals, communities, and societies of the future. By fostering emotionally supportive, creatively stimulating, and collaboratively engaged environments, adults play a crucial role in preparing children to navigate life successfully. The story of Preschool 2026 leaves viewers with a powerful reminder. Investing in children's growth through care, creativity, and community is an investment that resonates far beyond the preschool walls.
Part 17 serves as the final reflective section, bringing together all the narrative, thematic, and practical lessons from Preschool 2026, while offering viewers actionable insights, philosophical commentary, and a cohesive wrap-up. This section emphasizes audience engagement, ensuring that the YouTube viewers not only understand the story, but also relate it to real-life applications in parenting, education, and community building. A primary theme in Part 17 is the holistic impact of early childhood environments. Throughout the film, the preschool is depicted as more than a building. It is a dynamic ecosystem where children, teachers, parents, and staff interact to create learning, emotional growth, and creativity. Part 17 highlights that every aspect of this environment, from physical space to adult behavior to collaborative activities, contributes to shaping the children's development. For viewers, the lesson is clear. Nurturing children is not just about teaching facts or skills, but about intentionally shaping spaces, interactions, and relationships that foster curiosity, confidence, and resilience. The circular story room remains the most enduring symbol of the film's lessons. Its transformation from a mysterious, ambiguous space into a hub of imagination, collaboration, and problem-solving illustrates how challenges and uncertainty can become powerful learning opportunities. Part 17 emphasizes that the children's ability to creatively engage with the space reflects the broader educational principle that safe, thoughtfully designed environments promote exploration, innovation, and emotional growth. For YouTube audiences, it reinforces that adults can shape experiences to turn uncertainty into opportunity, both in physical spaces and in everyday interactions. Emotional modeling and guidance continue to be central themes. teachers and parents consistently demonstrate empathy, patience, and reflection, showing children how to navigate emotions, relationships, and challenges. Part 17 stresses that these modeled behaviors are internalized by children, teaching them skills such as empathy, collaboration, and self-regulation. The film portrays emotional intelligence as foundational, not supplementary, to learning. For viewers, the takeaway is actionable. Adults who model kindness, patience, and reflective thinking cultivate not only smarter children, but more emotionally balanced individuals. Collaboration and community engagement are revisited as key drivers of growth. Children work together on storytelling, creative projects, and group problem-solving, while adults participate, guide, and observe. Part 17 highlights that learning is most effective when it is a shared effort. Parents, teachers, and staff collaborating create richer, more meaningful experiences for children. This highlights a universal principle for the audience. Communities that invest in nurturing children collectively amplify the positive outcomes of early education. Imaginative play remains a central tool for cognitive and emotional development. Children in the film use art, storytelling, and collaborative construction as mechanisms to understand relationships, explore ideas, and process emotions. Part 17 emphasizes that play is not trivial. It is a serious developmental tool that fosters problem-solving, abstract thinking, and emotional literacy. For viewers, the film demonstrates that encouraging creativity is essential to raising adaptive, innovative, and resilient children. The theme of resilience through guided challenges is explored further. The film shows children facing frustrations, minor conflicts, and complex tasks, yet thriving because of adult support and safe spaces. Part 17 highlights that resilience is cultivated when children are given opportunities to confront difficulties, make choices, and learn from trial and error in a supportive environment. For YouTube audiences, this reinforces the principle that exposure to controlled challenges paired with guidance builds confidence and lifelong problem-solving abilities. Storytelling as a developmental tool is analyzed in depth. The film demonstrates how narratives help children process experiences, express emotions, and communicate with others. Adults participate, bridging generational understanding and reinforcing empathy. Part 17 emphasizes that storytelling fosters creativity, emotional intelligence, and social connection, providing viewers with the insight that narratives are powerful tools for both teaching and bonding. Consistency, patience, and intentionality in adult guidance are emphasized once more. Growth occurs gradually, shaped by repeated encouragement, observation, and thoughtful intervention. Part 17 reiterates that these qualities, consistency, patience, and mindfulness, are essential for creating lasting developmental impacts. Viewers are reminded that supporting children's cognitive, emotional, and social growth is a long-term commitment requiring attention and care. Part 17 also reflects on the broad ripple effects of early childhood experiences. The skills, values, and emotional capacities children develop in nurturing environments extend beyond the classroom to home, community, and future educational settings. By depicting how children apply empathy, collaboration, and creativity in multiple contexts, the film illustrates that early experiences shape not only individuals, but the culture and character of the communities they inhabit. For audiences, this reinforces the importance of investing in quality early childhood experiences for long-term societal benefit. Finally, Part 17 synthesizes the ultimate message of Preschool 2026. Children flourish when provided with safe, imaginative, and emotionally supportive environments. Adults influence growth through modeling, reflection, and active participation. And communities that collaborate in fostering nurturing spaces amplify positive outcomes for the next generation. The closing visual sequences, children laughing, creating, and storytelling, teachers observing and gently guiding, parents actively participating, the circular story room filled with projects, stories, and light symbolize the film's overarching lesson. Nurturing children through care, creativity, and connection has profound and lasting impact. Part 17 concludes by offering a call to action for viewers. The story encourages parents, educators, and community members to reflect on their own environments and practices. Are the spaces children inhabit safe, stimulating, and emotionally supportive? Are adults modeling empathy, creativity, and collaboration consistently? Are opportunities for play, imagination, and problem-solving encouraged? The film suggests that investing attention, care, and creativity in children's lives creates ripple effects that shape not just individuals but society itself. In essence, Part 17 transforms Preschool 2026 from a narrative into a guide, combining storytelling with practical insights about child development, emotional intelligence, and community engagement. By connecting cinematic moments to universal principles of growth, creativity, and empathy, the film provides viewers with both inspiration and actionable takeaways. It closes with a lasting reflection. Childhood experiences nurtured through intentional spaces, relationships, and guidance have the power to shape the future of individuals and communities alike.
Part 18 serves as an extended epilogue and final reflection on Preschool 2026, emphasizing the long-lasting lessons of the film and connecting them to practical applications for viewers in parenting, education, and community development. This part focuses on synthesizing the story's narrative, emotional resonance, and thematic insights into actionable takeaways that the audience can carry beyond the screen. A primary theme of Part 18 is the cumulative power of small, intentional actions. Throughout the film, teachers and parents consistently provide small gestures of guidance, encouragement, and emotional validation, moments that might seem minor on the surface, but collectively have profound effects on the children's development. Part 18 emphasizes that these actions, listening attentively, praising effort rather than outcome,
encouraging creativity and demonstrating patience lay the foundation for confidence, resilience, and social-emotional intelligence. For YouTube viewers, this reinforces that meaningful growth does not always come from grand gestures. Consistency and attentiveness matter most. The circular story room, once mysterious and intimidating, now serves as a final symbol of transformation and potential. In Part 18, it is portrayed as a microcosm of the learning journey itself. Children move from curiosity to exploration, from hesitation to confidence, and from uncertainty to collaboration. This evolution mirrors the broader theme that when adults create spaces that balance structure with freedom, children are empowered to navigate challenges and express their creativity. For viewers, this underscores the idea that the environments we shape, at home, in schools, or in community spaces, directly influence children's growth and engagement. Part 18 also delves into the power of observation and reflection. Adults in the film spend considerable time watching, listening, and reflecting on the children's interactions, which informs how they respond and guide. This process models critical thinking and emotional intelligence, demonstrating to children that reflection is a valuable tool for growth. The narrative shows that reflection is not limited to adults. Children learn to observe, adjust, and collaborate as they internalize this behavior. For a YouTube audience, the takeaway is clear. Reflective practices, whether in teaching, parenting, or community engagement, enhance understanding and nurture meaningful development. Another key focus is the integration of emotional intelligence into everyday learning. Children in the film consistently practice empathy, problem-solving, and self-regulation, often through play and collaborative projects. Part 18 emphasizes that these soft skills are foundational for lifelong success. The narrative illustrates that emotional intelligence is cultivated through supportive interactions, guided challenges, and modeling by adults. Viewers are reminded that developing children's emotional capacities is equally important as nurturing their cognitive skills. The film's use of imaginative play is highlighted once more as a tool for exploration, self-expression, and problem-solving. In Part 18, children are shown using storytelling, art, and collaborative projects not only for entertainment, but to work through complex emotions, experiment with solutions, and communicate with peers. This reinforces a universal lesson. Imagination is both a developmental tool and a form of empowerment, enabling children to navigate the world with creativity, curiosity, and confidence. Collaboration and community engagement remain central to Part 18. Children's interactions with peers, teachers, and parents illustrate the importance of shared responsibility in fostering growth. Activities such as group projects, storytelling circles, and creative celebrations build trust, social awareness, and a sense of belonging. Part 18 emphasizes that these communal experiences are essential for teaching cooperation, empathy, and interpersonal skills. For viewers, this reinforces the broader principle that nurturing children is a collective effort, and community involvement amplifies positive developmental outcomes. Resilience and adaptability are revisited in this section. The narrative shows children encountering obstacles, navigating disagreements, and learning to persevere with adult support. Part 18 emphasizes that these experiences, facilitated by emotionally safe spaces, help children develop confidence, problem-solving skills, and independence. The film portrays resilience not as a natural trait, but as a skill cultivated through guided practice, supportive environments, and encouragement. For YouTube audiences, this reinforces the importance of allowing children to face challenges with guidance rather than removing all obstacles. Storytelling is further explored as a bridge between generations and as a tool for emotional growth. Children use stories to understand experiences, share perspectives, and express feelings, while adults contribute narratives that provide context, empathy, and connection. Part 18 emphasizes that narrative engagement develops cognitive flexibility, communication skills, and emotional literacy. The film demonstrates that storytelling fosters bonds across age groups, reinforces lessons, and encourages children to see themselves as active participants in their learning and social environments. Consistency, patience, and intentional guidance are underscored as critical components of effective education and parenting. The film shows that growth occurs gradually, shaped by repeated encouragement, mindful observation, and thoughtful intervention. Part 18 reinforces that nurturing children requires dedication and persistence, reminding viewers that developmental progress is the result of sustained, intentional effort rather than instant results. Finally, Part 18 synthesizes the film's overarching message. Preschool 2026 is a story about more than children and a school. It is a meditation on the transformative power of care, imagination, and community.
Children thrive when provided with supportive, engaging, and emotionally safe environments. Adults shape growth through modeling, reflection, and participation, and collaborative, creative communities amplify positive developmental outcomes. The final images, children laughing and collaborating, teachers guiding gently, parents participating thoughtfully, and the circular story room filled with stories and projects, symbolize the enduring impact of nurturing, imaginative, and connected spaces. Part 18 closes by encouraging the audience to reflect on their own environments. Are spaces for children stimulating, safe, and emotionally supportive? Are adults modeling patience, empathy, and creativity consistently? Are opportunities for play, collaboration, and exploration encouraged? The film suggests that investing in children's environments and relationships today creates ripple effects that shape the adults, communities, and societies of tomorrow.